So now we discuss about what are the formulas that we are solving the problems in parallelogram law of forces. After we are finding out the resultant force formula, which one is your P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos alpha. Here we also, instead of P and Q, we can take the formula F1 and F2 force. Okay, so after we are taking P and Q force, instead we are taking F1 and F2, then the formula will be F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 cos alpha. Okay, and whenever we are taking R square, the formula is here, and when we are taking that only the R resultant value, then it will be root over of F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 cos alpha. So what is the formula here? That is F1 and F2, those are both are your components, and whenever your angle alpha, which the resultant force makes with the other force F2, then the value of tan alpha is F1 sin theta by F2 plus F1 cos theta. Okay, and if the theta value is 0, then when the forces are acting along the same line, then the value of R is here F1 plus F2, and whenever your theta value is 90 degree, and when the forces are acting at a right angle, then theta equal to your resultant force R equal to root over of F1 square plus F2 square. And if your value of theta is 180 degree, then the forces which act along the same straight line but in opposite direction, then the value of R equal to F1 minus F2. Okay, and in this case the resultant force will act in the direction of the greater force, and when the two forces are equal, and when F1 is equal to F2 is equal to F, then the formula of R equal to according to this is P square plus Q square plus 2 P square your cos alpha. Okay, so this is all about your formula of your parallelogram law. So next come to the next slide, which is your resolution of forces. So here this one is your resolution of forces. First we know what is the resolution. Okay, so it is defined as the process of splitting up the given forces into a number of components without changing its effect in the body is called as resolution of a force. In previous slide we are discussing about your resultant force and composition of forces. In that case we are adding the forces and make the resultant force. Okay, but here your resolution means subtraction or splitting up. So the principle of resolution is here. It states that the algebraic sum of the result part of a number of forces in a given direction is equal to the result part of their resultant in the same direction. So what here your principle says what? It means the algebraic sum of the result part means whatever the result parts here, your P force and Q force, number of forces that have the direction that equal to the result part here, the resultant force, okay, that having the same direction. So a force is generally resolved along two mutually perpendicular direction. And resolution means what? Now to break a force into two components. Means here if we are taking the resolution is R force, resultant force, then it will be split into your P force and Q force. Whenever your P force, Q force having the that much direction, and your magnitude, your resolution portion are resultant force having the same direction and magnitude. Okay, and the resolution which breaks in two forces, that means one will be horizontally. Okay, here one will be horizontally with the x-axis, and second one is vertically along y-axis. Okay, so see here. So in this principle, so let us know, let two forces here, which is your P force and Q force, which are acting at point O, which represent in magnitude and direction by which force? OL, OA. Okay, here the force is here, which P force is denoted by your line OA. Okay, and here Q force is OB. So now the resultant R, here the resultant force here R is represented in magnitude and direction by your diagonal. Here the parallelogram diagonal is OC of a parallelogram OACB. So from ACB, perpendiculars are drawn from B to this, from C to your N, and after that the line A, here OX line is passing. Okay, and then the result part of the forces P force, Q force and R along OX axis we are taking, which represent the magnitude and direction by your OL, ON, OE respectively. Okay, so from the point A, we draw a perpendicular on the point CN, and if evenly the triangle AD, it is making ACT triangle, and which is equal to your OB, and here your E angle. Okay, so from that this AT is equal to this one LN. Okay, and this LN is equal to OE. So here AT is equal to AE. Okay, so now the algebraic sum of the result part means P force and Q force along the direction of OA. Okay, and it result part which is your along the direction OX means your OE plus OL plus ON. Okay, it will be act in the line OX. So which is the result part of R along the direction of OX. So this is all about your principle of resolution. So next come to the how we can find out your resolution of your force part. Okay, so basically we are taking here, so whenever in our principle we studied that the two forces are taking in two direction, one is your x-axis and another one is your y-axis. So here I am taking your x-axis direction, your x-axis first quadrant, or first I am taking your first quadrant. So this one is your x-axis and this one is your y-axis, and whenever we are taking a force from your origin point O, that is F force, and which is include an angle with theta on the with the x-axis, and whenever we resolve this force F in x-axis, then what is the value of here? Whenever it the force will be resolved in x-axis, the value is F cos theta. Okay, and whenever we are taking this force F in vertically, the value is F sin theta. This is your first quadrant. Here this is your positive, so here force is taking as positive. So you always remember that whenever we are taking the force with horizontally means it is cos angle, and whenever we are taking this force in vertically, that means in sine. So here F cos theta, and whenever we are taking in y axis, that means it is F sin theta. Okay, so next one is here, whenever we are taking this force in second quadrant, and it is included angle with x axis theta, means it is minus, and y is positive, minus plus second quadrant. So we are taking F, so F cos theta, and whenever we are taking here, means it is your F sin theta. Okay, so accordingly we do this in for third quadrant and fourth quadrant. So next we will discuss in our next slide. So this is all about your resolution of forces, and rest part we will discuss in our next slide. Thank you.